Have you noticed how insincere people can be? It's a harsh reality, but here's the truth. At some point, most people will let you down. This isn't because the world is against you, but because it's simply human nature. Before you get too upset, consider this. How many times have you expected someone to act a certain way, only to realize that their priorities don't match yours? Exactly. This is why, as Stoic philosophy reminds us, we cannot control others, but we can control how we respond to them. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to change people, accept that they won't always meet your expectations. It's tough, but the sooner you accept these 10 harsh realities, the better you'll handle them and enjoy life more. Number 10 is especially challenging. Ready to learn about them? Now, if you are new here, please like the video and subscribe. 1. Time waits for no one. One certainty in life is that time is relentless. No matter how much you try to hold on, the clock keeps ticking mercilessly. And here you are, watching it slip through your fingers like grains of sand. Sometimes you wonder about the people around you and how they've influenced your life. Maybe you've wished they could stop, adjust to your expectations, or at least behave in a way that doesn't hurt. Here's the harsh truth. Time waits for no one, and surprisingly, neither do people. People have a way of disappointing us. It's not that they're inherently bad, but simply because they are who they are. There's nothing more liberating and simultaneously cruel than accepting that people act according to their own interests and limitations, not yours. For example, if you expect a friend to stay the same after they've changed priorities in life, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. It's like trying to calm a storm just because you don't want to get wet. No matter how much you wish it, the storm will follow its course. You might think you can change people with your advice, patience, or love, but in reality, you're up against a natural force stronger than any influence you could exert. Accepting that people won't adjust to your desires is as essential as learning to navigate a turbulent river without expecting the waters to calm just because you want them to. If you really want to improve your life, focus on adjusting your expectations and finding ways to navigate life's currents without exhausting yourself in vain. So how can you accept this harsh truth without it being painful? Stoic philosophy offers an interesting perspective. According to the Stoics, we should focus on what we can control and accept what we cannot. Instead of expecting people to change, focus on how to respond to their actions and how to adapt your life to keep moving forward despite their limitations. It's like adjusting your route when you encounter an unexpected detour. It can be frustrating, but it doesn't stop you. It allows you to move forward more efficiently. So here's the trick. Accept that people will be who they are. Don't try to change them or waste your time expecting them to behave differently. Instead, direct your energy toward improving your ability to handle life's surprises. Adjust your expectations, accept people as they are, and above all, don't waste time waiting for someone to fit your idea of who they should be. After all, time waits for no one, and neither should you. At the end of the day, it's healthier to focus on what you can control. What will you do with the time you have? That's the real question. As Mario Alonso Puig says, life doesn't stop because you expect others to change. It moves forward as quickly as the clock. 2. Suffering is inevitable, but you choose how to handle it. Ever feel like life is just one hardship after another? If you think that way, you're not wrong. But here's the twist. Not all suffering has to be a tragic ordeal. Yes, suffering is unavoidable, but how you deal with it is entirely up to you. Think of life as a host of a grand party where suffering is an unwelcome guest you can't avoid. Whether it's a bad day at work or a chaotic relationship, suffering shows up uninvited. But the real issue isn't the suffering itself. It's how you choose to handle it. Stoic philosophy teaches us that while we can't control what happens, we can control our reactions. It's like having a superpower that turns chaos into opportunity. So, how can you choose better? First, accept that people, this unpredictable bunch, will inevitably disappoint and complicate your life. Think of them as ingredients in a recipe that don't always mix well. Instead of getting upset over the final dish, learn to adjust the recipe. This means setting clear boundaries, communicating effectively, and most importantly, understanding that your well-being doesn't depend on others behaving as you want them to. Here's a tip. Instead of seeing every conflict or disappointment as a personal attack, view it as a lesson. Did your friend let you down at a crucial moment? Instead of stewing in anger, ask yourself what you can learn from it. Was it a lesson about trust or about not relying too heavily on others? Think of suffering as a sort of emotional workout. It's painful, but without lifting those emotional weights, you'll never build strength. Suffering in this sense is like a tough trainer who forces you to improve. The point isn't whether suffering will come, but how you'll grow from it. So, the next time suffering knocks on your door, don't panic or play the victim. Remember, you can choose how to act. Life may be full of challenges, but your response can turn suffering into a powerful tool for growth rather than a script you're stuck following. As a wise Stoic saying goes, we can't avoid the storms, but we can learn to dance in the rain. So when suffering arrives, remember, it's inevitable, but your reaction is your choice. Ready to take control. 3. Not everyone will like you. Have you ever thought you could be the next Steve Jobs or Messi if only people understood you? If you've imagined yourself as a version of yourself that everyone loves, I have some news. You're in for a rude awakening. The truth, though painful, is that not everyone will like you, and that's okay. Let's face the harsh reality. There's no magic formula to be loved by everyone. Imagine you're at a party, and while everyone seems captivated by you, someone in the corner criticizes you for being out of style. What do? Hide in the bathroom to cry? No, you keep enjoying the party because, in life, you can't be the hero of every story. Stoic philosophy teaches us that others' opinions are beyond our control. Worrying about being liked by everyone is like trying to catch water with your hands. As Epictetus wisely said, don't worry about what you can't control. So if someone criticizes you, think of it as a passing shower. It might get you wet, but it won't drown you. In business, companies know that not every customer will buy their product, so they focus on those who are truly interested. Why should your personal life be any different? If someone isn't interested in getting to know you, don't waste energy trying to change their mind. Focus on those who do value you. Think of yourself as a brand. Not everyone needs to be a customer. Can you imagine Apple trying to convince everyone to buy an iPhone? Absurd, right? Instead, Apple focuses on its loyal customers. You should do the same. Focus on those who appreciate your qualities, not on changing the minds of those who don't. Accepting that not everyone will like you is liberating. You won't have to carry the heavy burden of universal approval. Live your life for yourself, not for others. If you keep seeking everyone's favor, you'll lose yourself in the process. And honestly, who wants to be the person always seeking approval? It's far more freeing to live authentically with all your flaws and strengths and let others adjust, or not. As my grandfather used to say, you can't be the coffee everyone likes. Try that, and you'll end up as lukewarm water. 4. Expectations lead to disappointment. Expectations. They're the perfect machine for generating disappointment. Ever wonder why it's so hard to deal with people? It's as if everyone around you signed a secret contract to frustrate you. But here's the truth: they probably didn't. The problem isn't with them, but with your expectations. This is where Stoic philosophy comes in, teaching us a vital lesson. Excessive expectations lead to disappointment. Picture this: you're invited to a party, expecting it to be the event of the year. But when you arrive, you find a dull room, outdated music, and a subpar buffet. Total letdown. Sound familiar? Here's the harsh truth: people usually don't follow the script you've written for them. We expect our friends to always be understanding, our co-workers to always be competent, and the world to follow our rules. But reality is much more chaotic and unpredictable. The Stoics understood this perfectly. According to them, our distress doesn't come from events themselves, but from our expectations of those events. The first strategy to handle disappointment is simple: adjust your expectations. Instead of expecting everything to go perfectly, accept that life is chaotic and people won't always behave as you'd like. If the party is mediocre, at least you'll be able to laugh at the situation rather than feeling devastated. Another approach is to focus on what you can control: your reactions. Instead of getting frustrated because a friend didn't invite you to an event, try understanding that they have their own life with its own problems and priorities. Keep your expectations realistic and welcome surprises. People are as unpredictable as a soap opera, and if you stop expecting them to act like characters in a perfect script, you'll find it easier to enjoy the show. Finally, apply the mirror technique. Ask yourself if you're imposing impossible standards. People have flaws and virtues, and you're not the supreme judge of their behavior. Accepting this will not only make you more tolerant, but also free you from the burden of your own unrealistic expectations. Life is a theater where most actors don't follow the script you've written. If you learn to let go of those expectations and accept reality as it is, you'll save yourself a lot of suffering and disappointment. Stoic philosophy offers an ancient but effective remedy. Accept what you can't change and work on what you can control. As Jung said, expectations are the fertile ground where disappointments grow. Cultivate acceptance, and the garden of your inner peace will bloom. 5. Comfort is the enemy of progress. We live in a time where the sofa is the new throne and routine our religion. You've probably heard the saying that comfort is the enemy of progress, and maybe you dismissed it as a cliché. But it's more accurate than we'd like to admit. The harsh truths we prefer to avoid are the same ones that keep us stuck in our comfort zones, as if we're hugging a giant teddy bear instead of facing real life. Let's do a quick thought experiment. Imagine you're in a race, but instead of running, you sit comfortably on a sofa with a remote in hand. Absurd, right? Yet that's what happens when we cling to comfort. The sofa symbolizes all those habits, thoughts, and attitudes that keep us from moving forward. Sure, it's tempting, but what are you really gaining? Progress, like physical training, requires effort, discomfort, and sometimes even pain. This is where the harsh truths about people come into play. Most people prefer the comfort zone, where everything feels safe and predictable. But if you want to move forward, you need to understand that people won't always be the support system you'd like them to be. Not everyone will share your dreams or push you forward. Instead of expecting others to cheer you on, you'll need to be your own motivator, which might be uncomfortable but is essential. Stoic philosophy teaches us to accept what we cannot change and focus on what we can. If you expect the world to cater to your comfort, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Instead, embrace discomfort as a sign of growth. If something bothers you, it's likely because you're stepping out of your comfort zone, a sure sign you're moving forward. So, how do you start breaking free from the tyranny of comfort? Here are some simple strategies. First, set small challenges that take you out of your routine. You don't need to run a marathon right away. Start by taking a different route to work or trying a new activity. Second, surround yourself with people who challenge you. You don't need a crowd of followers, just a few who push you to be better. Lastly, practice detachment from outcomes. Instead of obsessing over immediate success, focus on the process and enjoy the journey. In conclusion, accepting discomfort is accepting the possibility of growth. It may not be the most comfortable path, but it's the only one that leads somewhere meaningful. If you cling to comfort, you'll be stuck while the world moves on. So, get up, shake off the dust, and face those harsh truths. Progress isn't about avoiding pain, it's about using it to improve. You have now reached the halfway mark of the video. I congratulate you for trying to become a better version of yourself, and I also humbly ask you to leave a comment. If you liked our video, like, subscribe, and comment so that YouTube knows that this type of content helps people like you, and we can continue creating more similar videos in the future. If you don't know what to comment, simply write "Silence is power" to show that you have surpassed our session, and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset. The world owes you nothing. Earn your place. Have you ever caught yourself feeling like the world owes you something? That feeling creeps up when the coffee spills, traffic turns into torture, or life simply doesn't meet your expectations. It's funny how we sometimes expect life to be a bed of roses, free of thorns or challenges. But the truth, as harsh as it may be, is that the world owes you nothing, absolutely nothing. Let's be honest, if you've ever thought the universe is just waiting to grant you favors, I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's not how it works. Instead of waiting for things to be handed to you, you should be figuring out how to earn them. This is the tough reality that Stoic philosophy lays out for us. The Stoics teach us that instead of expecting life to treat us in a special way, we should focus on improving our attitude and actions. Imagine you're in line for concert tickets. You're waiting patiently, but someone cuts in front of you. Your natural reaction is to get angry, thinking the world is unfair. It's understandable, but that guy is still ahead of you in line. Here's where the Stoic principle comes in. Instead of wasting energy on frustration, use that time to prepare yourself or find another solution. Sometimes, the real victory is in how you handle adversity, not in avoiding it. Of course, this doesn't mean resigning yourself to endless suffering. The point is that your success doesn't depend on external circumstances, but on how you choose to face them. If you're always waiting for others to give you a push, you'll be stuck in an eternal waiting room. Instead, take control of your destiny. Your attitude, effort, and perseverance are the currencies with which you can buy the life you want. One effective approach is continuous self-evaluation. Ask yourself, what can I do to improve my situation? If you're unhappy with your job, instead of complaining, think about how you can learn new skills or change your focus. If you feel stuck in your relationships, consider whether you're giving your best or if there's something you can improve. This mindset of self-improvement not only helps you move forward, but also gives you a sense of control, freeing you from the frustration that comes with expecting the world to give you something it doesn't owe you. The world owes you nothing, but you owe it to yourself to earn what you desire. Life is more like a gym than a gift shop. You don't get anything without first putting in the work. Stop waiting for favors and start working for what you want. The real lesson here is that satisfaction and success are built, not handed out. Remember, it's better to be the architect of your destiny than to wait for the world to hand you a blueprint. As the saying goes, life will give you what you work for, not what you expect to receive. 7. Honesty isn't always the best policy. Have you ever been in one of those conversations that start with, "I'm going to be completely honest with you"? You know the ones, where you brace yourself for a dose of reality so blunt you might as well put on a helmet. Honesty, while highly valued, can be a double-edged sword. In reality, the phrase "honesty is the best policy" doesn't always mean everyone will appreciate your bluntness. Sometimes it's more like, "I'm going to tell you the truth, and it might hurt." Think about it. Have you ever seen how a glass shatters when struck with a hammer? That's what happens when you deliver a truth that's too harsh. People aren't always ready to receive the truth in its rawest form, like a direct injection of sincerity without any anesthesia. And that's where the dilemma lies. Telling the truth is like cooking a delicate dish. If you're not careful with the spices, you can ruin everything. Imagine you're in a meeting and your chronically late co-worker asks you about their punctuality. If you're completely honest, you might say, "You're like a broken clock, you're always late." Sure, that's the truth, but it's also a recipe for making enemies. Stoic philosophy, which encourages us to accept what we can't change and act with serenity, offers guidance here. It's not just about telling the truth, but doing so with tact and empathy. This is where the strategy of sweetening comes in. No, I'm not talking about sugarcoating bitter truths, but rather wrapping them in a layer of tact. Instead of shattering someone's self-esteem with a harsh truth, present reality in a constructive way. For example, instead of saying, "Your presentation was a disaster," you could say, "There are areas where you could improve, and I have some suggestions that might help." Another technique is the gradual approach. Sometimes people need time to process difficult truths. It's not about lying, but about softening the impact, guiding someone gently rather than throwing them into deep waters. The idea is to lead people toward the truth, not hurl it at them. Honesty isn't always the best policy if your goal is to maintain harmonious and effective relationships. At the end of the day, telling the truth with tact and empathy is often more effective than bluntness. Remember, truth can be a gift, but it can also be a burden. The key is in how you choose to deliver it. So the next time you feel the urge to be brutally honest, pause and think, am I really helping with my sincerity, or am I just venting my frustration? Stoic philosophy teaches us that communication should be reflective and compassionate. As Gandhi said, truth doesn't need to be spoken with violence. It can be delivered with grace and still be powerful. Failure is the path to success. Ever wonder how some people see failure as a stepping stone to success, while others view it as divine punishment? Let's unravel this with a dose of realism and, if you'll allow, a touch of sarcasm. Imagine you're playing chess, but instead of following the rules, you make up your own. That's what facing failure feels like. Most people see it as absolute defeat, the kind where the hero doesn't save the day. But in reality, failure is more like an alternative script that, if played right, leads to the happy ending you desire. First, understand this harsh truth. People tend to overlook the effort behind success. The romanticized version of success skips the countless hours of work, sleepless nights, and numerous failures. Everyone wants the magic formula for success without crossing the desert of failure first. How convenient. Stoic philosophy, however, teaches us to accept that things don't always go our way and that suffering is part of the journey. The Stoics saw failure not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity to learn and grow. It's as if every time you stumble, instead of staying down, you're handed a map with new routes to explore. But how do you apply this in your daily life? Imagine you're learning to play the guitar. Every mistake, every off note isn't a reason to quit, but a step toward mastery. Every failure is like a rung on a ladder, seemingly endless, but leading to a much higher place. Now, let's talk solutions. The next time you face failure, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Do an honest analysis. not to make excuses, but to identify areas for improvement. If you fail at a presentation, don't dwell on it. Assess how you can improve your delivery or public speaking skills. It's like getting better at chess. You need to understand your mistakes so you don't repeat them. Also, shift your perspective. If you see failure as an enemy, you'll always be on guard, fearing mistakes. But if you see it as an ally on your path to success, every setback becomes a valuable lesson. This mindset shift can turn failures into disguised successes. Failure isn't the end of the world, but the beginning of new opportunities. Embracing a Stoic mindset lets you learn from your mistakes instead of being crushed by them. The next time you fail, remember, it's not a punishment, but a sign you're moving towards something greater. As Einstein wisely said, success is not the absence of failures, but the ability to rise after each fall. 9. Your dreams may not align with your life. Ever wake up feeling like your dreams and reality are in parallel universes? Those same dreams you cherish like a treasure in the attic of your hopes. Meanwhile, reality seems to be at a party you weren't invited to. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's quite common for our dreams to not fully align with our lives. Let's explore this discouraging truth with a touch of sarcasm, because sometimes laughing is the best way to cope with life's ironies. Let's talk about the expectations you have for your life. Imagine your dreams are like a big, juicy burger with all the fixings: cheese, bacon, that special sauce promising happiness. Now picture your real life as a plate of steamed broccoli, about as exciting as a Sunday afternoon at home. It's a brutal contrast, right? Reality has a way of turning grand dreams into mere longings, as if you were trying to mix water with oil. The truth is, you're often surrounded by people selling you the illusion that you can have it all, that success is just around the corner, like a supermarket special. Buy this course and get 2 free coaching sessions. Sure, and if you kick your life into gear, you might find nirvana. Here's where Stoic philosophy steps in. The Stoics knew that accepting reality without embellishment or excuses is the first step to true inner peace. They didn't live in a fantasy world. They understood that life has a cruel way of derailing plans. Instead of cursing fate, they adapted and found ways to move forward. It's not about giving up, but being realistic and finding practical ways to progress. To address the gap between dreams and reality, try a more pragmatic approach. Instead of chasing unattainable goals, set small, achievable ones. If your dream is to climb Everest, start with a nearby hill. Maybe steamed broccoli isn't the feast you envisioned, but over time you could add some spices and make it more palatable. The trick is to adjust your expectations without losing sight of your ultimate goal. Also, spend time getting to know yourself. Ask yourself what truly matters and what your priorities are. You may discover that the path to your dreams isn't a triumphant march, but a series of small steps, each with its own challenges. Learn to enjoy the moments when things don't go as planned. Those moments teach and shape you. In conclusion, your dreams may not align with your current life, and that's okay. Life is full of unexpected twists, and learning to navigate them with a smile is an art in itself. Stop comparing your broccoli to your dream burger and start enjoying each bite along the way. Maybe you won't become the hero of your dreams, but you can become an incredible version of yourself. As Marian Rojas rightly says, dreams are the fuel, but it's the acceptance of reality that ignites the engine. 10. Stop comparing yourself to others. How much time do you spend comparing yourself to others? It's as if life were a giant popularity contest where everyone's striving to be the coolest. But how often do you really win that competition? The truth is, comparing yourself to others is an extreme sport that leaves you exhausted and disillusioned, not exhilarated. Imagine your life as a race where everyone runs with different shoes. While you're busy admiring your competitors' shiny sneakers, they're focused on their own races, facing their own challenges, and pursuing their own goals. Let's say you're at work and a colleague seems to have everything figured out. The promotion, the perfect family, the fit body. Have you ever wondered if that person might also envy something in your life? Maybe when they see how easily you make friends, they feel like they're missing something crucial. The fact is, we never really know what's going on behind the scenes. Stoic philosophy offers a valuable perspective on this. The Stoics believed in focusing on what's within our control and accepting what isn't. Instead of wearing yourself out by comparing your life to others, focus on improving your own. Your worth isn't tied to what others have or do, but in how you manage your own journey. So how can you stop comparing and start living better? First, identify and accept your strengths and weaknesses. Instead of trying to excel at everything, focus on improving in areas that truly matter to you. The real competition is with yourself, not with the rest of the world. Ask yourself, what can I do today to be a better version of myself? Second, limit your time on social media. These platforms are designed to make you feel dissatisfied by showcasing only the most perfect moments of others' lives. If you must check in, do it with a critical mind, aware that what you see is just a small part of the story. Practice gratitude. Spend a few minutes each day recognizing what you have and what you've achieved. Instead of focusing on what you lack, celebrate your victories, big or small. This doesn't mean ignoring your aspirations, but recognizing that you've already come a long way. Stop torturing yourself with comparisons. The only way to live fully is to embrace your uniqueness and make peace with the fact that everyone has their own path. True freedom comes when you stop comparing yourself to others and focus on your own journey. So the next time you're tempted to measure your life against others, pause for a moment and remember, in this race, only you can judge your own happiness. As Oscar Wilde said, it doesn't matter how fast you run to catch up with others. You'll always be in the wrong place if you don't love yourself first. Now, if any part of this message has been helpful to you, leave us your like and comment, helping the algorithm recommend it to someone who needs it at this time. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos. And if you look through the videos we've already uploaded, you're sure to find something to take with you. Have a good day.